Welcome to the Post Racing Podcast with Ron Robinson and Sean Travass. Post Racing, the site for winners.
Good afternoon, Sean. It seems like a millennium since we did the last one. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Racing goes on, as we both know. I'm watching Chipstow in the background as we talk.
Yep.
And some delighted grooms after their horse just won. I'm sort of beginning to move into winter season mode now, although we're talking about the flat today because it's not drawing to a close, but heading that way.
Yeah.
But as I said to you before we came on, it's about time I started looking at the jumps again. And
it is.
We'll do that from next one onwards. Not solely, maybe. We'll see what's going on in the flat as well. But plenty to talk about, isn't there?
Oh, isn't it just? Yeah. And I was looking at your list and I thought, do you know, I've been so busy with the new 500 Club website and setup and all the rest of it. Newsletters going out left, right and centre. New website in place. Do you know, I never saw one race at the Arc de Triomphe meeting, and that's top of your list. I've had to look at the results. But, it's been a torrid few weeks. The members know why we've been missing on my part, and then you had the audacity to take a week off on a holiday. Good grief.
Outrageous.
Outrageous, yeah.
I feel suitably chastised
You should.
for drinking and eating in Spain in the sunshine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every moment. Thank you.
I bet you did, yeah.
The Art Weekend weather tried to ruin it, as it
usually does. Yeah.
I'm one of the few people who's never seen it as the be all and end all any more than the Breeders' Cup, to be honest with you, purely because it's at the end of a long, hard season. I mean, I know City of Troy wasn't at the art meeting, for anyone reminds me, but when you look at him going to the Breeders' Cup, his first race was the 2000 Guineas back in May.
Yeah.
So, I know the top trainers, they can let them down and bring them back again, but it's a long old year, and then you're going to go on soft ground. I mean, it's going to be soft ground, I suppose, before you enter your horses for these things, but it's going to be soft ground 9 times out of 10, if not worse. Yeah. Does that suit some of the better horses? Possibly not. I'm sure all those who owned or trained the winners or backed them even will strongly disagree with me there, and why not? But I do see it as, in some cases, an afterthought. However, the notes I've made, just to bore you and start off with, Aidan O'Brien has 4 winners on the Saturday. That's a pretty good start.
I saw that. Yeah.
Ryan, £500,000 or just over they picked up in prize money in one afternoon, which is nice work if you can get it.
Isn't it?
On to Sunday, disappointed Zaragana got beaten in the opener. She's supposed to be the next best thing.
Yeah.
The next Pegasus, etc. She was just nutted by stablemate on the line, possibly partly greenness, maybe not. But she's a good horse, make no mistake about that. I suspect she'll be over the 1,000 guineas, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. She might stay in France. O'Brien's second string wins in Camille Passaro.
Yeah, I saw that as well. But I also saw the hubby and wife team, Tom Marquand and Hollie Doyle, came on 1-2 in the Abbey, but in the wrong order for punters.
Yeah, but the thing I don't know, I think this says more about the French sprinters than it does about ours. The Brits had the first 9 home.
So that as well.
9 home in the Prix de la Bay. That's I mean, I know we think we had the majority of runners, obviously. So no surprise there. Makarova wins it, and I've written down here, I don't think I'd back her in the replay, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have found her. Never get upset if something wins that I can't find. I get upset when something wins that perhaps I should have found and did. I wouldn't have backed her. Simple as that. What do you think of the Arc itself?
Well, again, I've not yet seen it, but in the run up to the race, I was reading a lot of positive press about blue stocking.
Yeah.
And when I saw the result, I just was not surprised one bit that horse had gone and won the Arc de Triomphe. And I thought to myself, what a lovely payday for Rossa.
Well, they spent a ridiculous sum of money. I can't remember how much it is to supplement it for the Arc, which I suppose is a clue in itself, and one that I missed. I didn't miss as in I didn't know about it. I missed it as in I didn't take enough notice of it. I'm not sure how good that Arc was, if I'm honest with you. A lot of horses ran way below expectations. French Derby winner again was supposed to be the next good thing. Look, De Vega finished 13th after pulling too hard out.
I know, yeah.
Al Riffa was, no offence to Yutaka Take, Al Riffa was given a terrible ride. He had a reasonable draw in 9 and got shuffled out to the outside and never had any chance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's the best art we've ever seen, but I do think Blue Stocking was a deserving and good winner. And word is she's going to stay in training next year, which that's got to be good for punters, or as we keep saying, we're not just punters. We love our racing, and it's good news.
Yeah.
When they stay in training, let's see, we get to see how good she really is. Connections are convinced that she'll improve again at 4. And if that's the case, she's going to be interesting when she, now they know she can take on the Colts and win. It'll be interesting to see how she gets on against next year's 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
So, it was a good day for racing, if not for my pocket. So
yeah, I've been of a mind that the older horses this year, with the exception of maybe City of Troy, they're not really up to much, are they? They're all beating each other, and it's just it's been a really strange season. I don't know whether the weather's had anything to do with it, the fact that we've not had a proper summer. It's just been so wet. But they just all seem to be coming out, and it's just, I don't know, the Group 1 and Group 2 races, I used to be able to look at those and say, yeah, that's between that one and that one. No two ways about that. But then you get a 25-1 winner going, and you think, how did that happen? Yeah, it's just been a very, very strange summer.
Well, I think it has. And the first thing for the likes of me is talking to people, and you say to them, right, okay, let's ask you a question. They go, what's that question? And you go, okay, who won the 1,000 guineas?
I know, yeah.
And most people are going to go, I'm not really sure who won the 1,000.
Yeah.
Not absolutely positive who won. And that's because El Malka's not really gone on to run up a sequence. She hasn't run a bad race, to be fair. I'm not decrying her at all, and that'd be unfair on Roger Berry as well. But she's not a world beater. She's not one that you're going to be talking about for the next few years.
No.
Oh, wow, were you there at Newmarket when El Malka won the 1,000 guineas? No, I wasn't. I wish I was. Not like Frankel. We all know where we. It's like, where were you when JFK was shot, sort of thing. Where were you when Frankel won the 2,000 guineas? We all know where we were, because it was such a spectacular performance, and he then went on to become a household name.
Yeah.
Sadly, El Malka's not going to go on to become a household name. It was just one of those things, and so I think that's evidence, if you like, of what you're saying. That it's a bit of much of a muchness this year. Yeah,
they are. Yeah, they're very.
As you say, though, with the exception of City of Troy, and that cleverly by Ron there moves us on to the next subject, doesn't it? And that is ITV Racing covering the Breeders' Cup over the year. 2 hours.
Yeah. Now again, I've just been so head down doing this 500 club stuff. And just to refer back to something you just said then about racing not just being about betting. If you're really into your racing and you just love going racing, and if you've never been racing as an owner, come and join us, because you will have an absolute ball. That's what the 500 Club is all about. Sure, I'll be doing my bits like the ratings and the OMS and all the rest of it, but this is primarily about getting a group of people together who just basically love the sport.
I'm really looking forward to it.
So am I. Do you remember the days we used to go to Wolverhampton with Rosie's Lady and things like that? We got our members to Aintree, we got them to Cheltenham, and they've just had a ball. And something I've not put in the blurb on the website yet is we're going to do exactly what we did last time, and that is find a top class syndicate, which will provide one of our members with a prize. And Pete Lynn will remember this. I hope you're listening, Pete, because he won himself a share in You Know What I Mean, Harry, who then went on and won at a Cheltenham festival. Wouldn't it be brilliant if we could do something like that again?
I think the thing is that sprung to mind as you mentioned that, and we haven't rehearsed this, so you'd never guess.
No, this wasn't even on the list.
we had great fun at Wolverhampton. Now, that's not me digging at Wolverhampton. It doesn't have to be Royal Ascot or Glorious Goodwood. Of course, it's great if you can get to Cheltenham or Aintree, because that's the target for every owner, and Royal Ascot and the Derby, etc., etc., etc. But we had an absolute blast at Wolverhampton at an evening meeting.
Yeah.
If you've got like-minded people with the right attitude, going there to cheer on a horse, have a bet or not, as the case may be, you don't have to. Have a drink, have a chat, chew the fat, talk rollicks, something like that, about the sport that we've all loved and most of us have loved for more years than we care to count. you can have fun at any racetrack you want, and I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. I know Ron puts his heart and soul into absolutely everything, so there's no point even asking. But I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. I'll try it. If we get the chance to buy or lease our own horse, I will do everything I can to source a half decent one.
Yeah.
I will attempt to make as many race days that we do as possible. Yeah. Ron and I, if the trainers are too busy to talk us through it, I'll do it. If Ron can't, or we'll do it together, whatever works out to be. If it's up north or down south, we'll wait and see.
Yep.
Let's face it, it's never worked a day in my life if you're doing things like that, are you? Really?
Oh, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? And we had a great crowd there. It was January the 1st. We'd been at a black tie do in Wigan, and we hadn't got to bed till about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we were last race on the card at Wolverhampton that night. So we've driven down to Wolverhampton. Couldn't remember which way I was going then. Down to Wolverhampton. We got a Big Mac on the way in, and then we were the last race on the card. And I think by the time we got to that race, we were the only people left at Wolverhampton, the members. And I'm standing with David O'Mara on the rail. We're waiting for Rosie's lady to come out the stalls. And she comes out the stalls, third or fourth, makes the ground up, goes and wins by 5 lengths. And I've hit David O'Mara on the back so hard, he's probably still got the handprint now, you know. Oh, what a great night that was. Really was.
But the 2-word phrase hyphenated probably that you use that's the most important for those thinking of joining the 5 Hour Club, I honestly believe personally, and that's like-minded.
Yeah. You've got to be all pulling on the same end of the rope. Definitely.
Absolutely. We're out for fun. If we can find ourselves a winner, of course we're going to aim to get winners. Who doesn't? But then so do others spending millions at the sale. So we're out to have some fun. We're out to enjoy it. We're out to make the most of the opportunity. That's the thing.
Yeah, be brilliant, wouldn't it? Oh, I can't wait. Cannot wait. Anyway, back to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good news.
Yeah, I might watch that, you know, as long as they talk racing for 2 hours and don't go looking at the local fashion or have some bloke waffling on about an £800 bottle of wine that goes well with the £2,000 lunch some people are having. Great, you know, but I'd like to see a couple of American experts on there discussing the racing as well, because what I know about American racing and race tracks, etc., you could put on the back of a postage stamp. So there's no point anybody emailing me and saying, what do you fancy at the Breeders' Cup? I haven't got a Scooby-Doo, not a Scooby-Doo. So yeah, I want to see a couple of Americans on there. And if they can put you wise as to some of the ones that aren't quite as fancied, that will give you an each way run at a big price, great. Make it a bit of fun. But don't come asking me for anything.
I think we can ask me on some of the races, but not all of them come to that. Because if we do, I don't know if we are going to do a podcast that week. We'll see where everybody is, etc. If we do, I'll try and cover you to an extent. Do I know the formulas?
We'll have to, won't we? Yeah.
But I do cover the American. It's a good thing for racing. Forget it's the Breeders' Cup. Forget it's the World Championships. Don't forget it's the World Championships. Well, according to the Americans, it is anyway. So it's going to be some good racing. I do suspect it's the fact that City of Troy is going to run on dirt is why they persuaded the powers that be to give them a 2-hour show. But that's got to be good for racing full stop, that ITV's picking it up and going, well, there's enough interest in racing. Let's do this. City of Troy on the dirt, we'll talk more about that when we come to the day. But I do know, and I've said to you long time, pre 2000 guineas when he flopped, admittedly, that there was already talk that he might miss the 2000 guineas and go to the Kentucky Derby. Now, he didn't, and that's a pointless thing to say, you might think. However, it does imply that all the way back in May or before that, Aidan still thought he would handle the dirt.
Yeah.
And that's the important aspect of that to me, is that he's always thought this horse will handle the dirt. So we'll have to wait and see. Do I want to take 7-4 about City of Troy to win it? No, not in your wildest dreams. I'll be surprised if I can't find the each way alternative, but we'll have to see the final feel for that. To take 7-4, in my view, for a horse that's travelled that far away to run on a surface he's never raced on before. Okay, trialled at Southwell, but that's not dirt. I wouldn't be taking 7-4, I'm afraid. I think he can win. I think he's good enough to win, and I would be delighted to be proved wrong and he does win. But can I tell everyone listening to this that 7-4 is good value? No, I can't. No. Sorry. But it's going to bring the sport back into the public eye.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It'll be on a different time to normal, so you might get a different audience. Saturday evening, I think it ends up being. I'm not really sure because of the clock changes, etc., etc. But it won't be the standard ITV afternoon. So fingers crossed it all goes well. There's no incidents, and we get to see some decent racing.
Yeah.
Next on the list, and you already mentioned the man involved, and that's Rossa Ryan.
Rossa Ryan, yeah. But do you know when I was looking at what to actually put down and write on paper about this? He is very much on the up. But when I was working on tomorrow's racing, which we'll be chatting about later, I noted he's been, or appears to have been, jocked off a horse called Skellet in the Newmarket 135. Ryan Moore's been given the ride.
Yeah.
Whilst Rossa Ryan is riding for Sean Woods on a 25-1 outsider. I wonder what's going on there then.
Yeah. He does I don't know. Is the answer to that one. I don't know the guy. Let's be realistic here. So I'm not making a single comment about his character. That would be totally incorrect for me to do so. But he did have a fallout with Amo Racing.
Everybody does.
Yeah, exactly. So I cannot take an opinion on that, and it would be unfair to even think about it. But it makes you wonder, has he fallen out with someone else, or what is the reason behind it? At the end of the day, he's a very good jockey. But is he Ryan Moore? Is he Ryan Moore yet? No, he's not. Sorry.
Nobody is. Nobody is.
So that might be. He's only 24 years old. Sits second in the Jockeys Championships at the time of writing. Wins the Arc on Blue Stocking last Sunday. Seems a natural horseman, and people who know a lot more than me say he is. How long before he gets called up to probably? I was going to say Godolphin, but then they've got enough young jockeys. Buick's not old, so he's not going anywhere. I wonder if you could get a big anti-post price. And I'm not an anti-post punter. I wouldn't mind taking a bet he takes over at Aidan O'Brien's if Ryan calls it a day.
Oh, yeah. That's a good shout. Yeah,
I think so, because I can't see them relying on it. They're going to take a top jockey in if they possibly can. I would imagine. That's no disrespect to the other jockeys in the stable.
Yeah.
Don't see him going to Godolphin. Not sure about Jumbont. Maybe Jumbont will take him in if they decide to retain a jockey again. But I can see him going to Coolmore one day, a couple of years time. I don't know. Depends when Ryan gets bored or when he doesn't really.
Well, what I've written next is that he's one of those group of jocks that will always get, big rides in big races. Marquand is another one. There's a few in that group, but that's because Moore can't ride them all. But it seems to me that if Ryan Moore is available for a ride, he gets the ride.
No different to Leicester.
No, not exactly the same as Leicester. Yeah, exactly.
Possibly Frankie, but more Leicester was the king of that. Maybe Pat Eddery also was able to steal a ride if he wanted one.
Yeah.
I don't think they steal rides anymore, or less now. I think that the owners make their own decisions.
The owners want them, yeah.
Hence, to the best of my knowledge, Judgment don't have a retained jockey at the moment. They have ones they call upon, but they don't pay a retainer, and therefore they pick who they consider the best jockey available race by race.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the way it should be, really.
Yeah.
I dread to think how many times I've lost money by going, oh yeah, the jockey's gone there. It's just because he's a retained rider. He's riding a horse that's got no chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he's been told he's got to be there. So I'd rather they all had the pick. But I think he's got a very, very bright future in front of him.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
I'd say at this moment in time, I'd say the brightest of futures out of all of them. I think he'll go further than Tom will.
Yeah.
I think he'll go further than Hollie will as well. That sounds like I'm trying to upset people. I'm just saying what I see when I watch him riding and what potentially he's got on top of that.
And don't forget Billy Loughnane as well.
Yes, he's another one. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see how much he needs to progress a bit to get to Ross's standard.
He does. Yeah.
But again, he's even younger, so a bright future. It's good to see, really, because we will. I think we actually said on a podcast. Though we might have been talking character more than we were talking skills from the saddle. What do we do when Frankie goes?
Yeah.
And the answer is we survive, as we are now. And the next generation comes through and they get their opportunities to prove they're good enough.
Yeah.
And they're doing exactly that. So the sport's in good hands as far as jockeys are concerned, trainers are concerned, horses are concerned. It's just other bits that we're not discussing this week, because it's a good news week, that are causing the problems. On to good news, bad news, all rolled up into one, I suppose. What do you make of the money that's being splurged at the sales, Ron? How much of it was yours?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I remember once going. So me and David O'Mara were out to buy a horse called, oh, what was it called, Shadow Dancer or something, and I said we can go to 16k, and that would have been my maximum. Now it'd be about 6. I might get the fetlocks or something. I don't know, but yeah, the horse went to 32k and went to Gordon Elliott and ran about 6th in the Triumph Hurdle. And David said to me, "Hey, you were right about that horse, weren't you?" I said, "I had a feeling I would be." But you wouldn't get that for 32k now. It'd be more like 352. The game's gone nuts. The game's gone nuts. But especially, like you say, the sales this week, bonkers. The numbers that are being put up on that board for the horse, which is, at the end of the day, it's just a horse.
Yeah,
it's mad. And even Godolphin have been drawn in now. They had to probably pay more for one a couple of days ago than they wanted to, just to beat Amo Racing to that particular horse. Now you've said to me, can racing still scream poverty when such sums are changing hands? Well, at the bottom of the food chain, absolutely, yeah. What I've done is I've looked at what's going on, and we had a little chat before we came live today about the power that one particular stable yields at the moment, and it's exactly the same here. You've got a group of owners, trainers, and jockeys who are all dining at the top table. What's going on at Brighton and Bath and Yarmouth doesn't concern them at all. Even the likes of Thirsk, Ripon, Leicester, Nottingham, doesn't concern them at all. All they're really interested in is paying 25 gazillion quid for a horse to run it at Royal Ascot, get it to win a Group 1, and then send it to the breeding sheds. The likes of you and me, when we start looking for a horse for the 500 club, we're not going anywhere near this type of thing. We're looking for something that's been gelded. We're running Class 5 and Class 6. Give us a good night out at Wolverhampton, and Bob's your uncle. And then we'll come away thinking, do you know what? We only won 3k for that tonight. Madness, isn't it? Because then you'll see a Godolphin horse or whatever turning up at Longchamp at the weekend and winning £100,000 handicap. And it's just mad. But no, I think racing below the level that these guys play at is in a hell of a bad state at the moment. But the guys on the top table, they're feasting on whatever's going on at the moment. And they are. I've got a feeling that these people are the ones in control of racing. And something's got to change.
As someone said to me once, and it was nothing to do with racing, I don't think, it's called the golden rule. Who's got the gold makes the rules. Makes the rules, absolutely, yeah. And that's how that is. Now, if you want to spend your own money, and let's be honest, if I'd won a double rollover Euro Millions, I might have been the underbidder on one of these, because you'd have the money to spare. But they spent 4.4 million on one, 2.5 on another, 4.3 on another one. I think Amo spent close to £30 million. 30 million in total. Sheikh Mohammed's been in there paying 2.9 million for a Dark Angel sister to chow in. And then on top of that, although the German Derby winner's gone and joined Nicky Henderson for 1.4 million euros. Now, though, that's a sort of a misnomer because he may go over hurdles, but more likely he's going to be competing at Group 1 on the flat. In the Henderson name. But you would imagine that he might go over hurdles sometime because I suspect German form's not up to that. And he's going to get handed his arse on a plate if he goes to Group 1
absolutely right.
on the flat. And he won't get his ground either, mind you, the way the weather's going, who knows? So he may well end up over hurdles. I mean, I was interesting to see what I don't know. And again, I don't want to go off onto this racing finances chit chat and bore people to tears. But I do. What I would say is I wonder whether the sales houses, for want of a better phrase, are paying their fair share back into racing. Taking that just as an example, 2.5 million guineas for a full sister to Art winner Alpinista. Now, that horse would not have gone for 2.5 million guineas if it wasn't a sister to Alpinista. Alpinista is only famous because she won the Arc and other races. I'm not decrying her, i.e. the racing link is why she was worth that much money. That's why I'm saying that. Frankel's horses are worth that because of what Frankel did on the racecourse, not just because of his bloodlines. So they do have a duty of care, for want of a way of putting it, back to racing. Now, if anyone from the sales world is listening and wants to phone me up or email me and say, you're talking out of your bum, Sean, we put in X million pounds last year, then fair enough, I'm open to correction. Oh, there goes a steam train, if you can hear that. But I do wonder whether I've never heard anyone mention whether they're putting enough money back into the kitties, or I was trying to imply, really. But it does make it must make it very, very difficult when I'm going to say next week, and it might not, when the BHA go cap in hand back to government asking to reform the levy and get more money, that the Labour Party or whoever's in charge at the time is going to look at it and go, yeah, you're telling me racing's skint. Well, we just read this headline in the Racing Post that someone spent £30 million on horses.
Yeah.
How can you tell me the sport is skint? And it's a difficult one to get round. And, I would struggle to argue that one. I'd come back with the same argument you did. That's at the top end. But you were saying first grip and blah, blah, blah. Yep. I was interested in what you said, and I'm too lazy to make notes, so I'll forget what I've done. It would be interesting to make a note of the top 20 horses bought at these sales for in the millions, or anything over £1 million, then, for want of an argument, and actually see it. I'll almost take a bet that one of those will turn up in a Ripon Maiden or a Thirst Maiden, or Nottingham Maiden. So we're there with our 10,000 guineas purchase, for want of an argument, running in a maiden, and in comes this £4.4 million purchase against it. But that's the truth. They all have to start somewhere. They can't all win the 2,000 guineas. They can't all win the Derby. And I remember some years ago, and I don't know if the maths is any different, I doubt it is, that some horse was sold at the sales for a ridiculous sum, and it worked out it had to win every other race for its entire 2 and 3 year old career. Yeah. So it needed to run in the 2 o'clock, and then the 3 o'clock, and then the 4 o'clock, each and every day, and add all those together, and it would just about cover its sales price.
Yeah. It's more to do with what comes after racing, isn't it?
It is, but you know my thoughts on that. It's not unknown to anyone. That's the tail wagging the dog. You breed horses to race them. You shouldn't race horses to breed them. Yeah. And the other thing is, how many new sires can there be that sit in the top end? So out of that 20 that were bought there, you can't have 20 of them going to stud-in.
No.
They're all yearlings, by the way. So we say they're going 3 years' time. They can't all go to stud in 3 years' time and all be the top new sire. Only one of them can, if that.
Yeah.
So, yes, you are gambling, I suppose. I wonder why that doesn't come under the Gambling Act. They're taking a gamble their horse is going to be a massive success. It's their money and it's their choice. I'm just wary that the great British public, who's probably very fed up with racing constantly being bickering amongst themselves, as it shoots itself in the foot with things like this, and people look at it and go, they don't need any money, move on. I'm talking to move on. Should we do some racing?
Oh, let's. Yeah.
It's all Newmarket Saturday. I know.
Yeah, I mentioned in the newsletter we're covering 6 races at Newmarket. Now I'm not sure what the ground's going to be like. The weather up here today is glorious, so if it's the same down there, it's going to be drying out.
Yeah.
In fact, when I first looked, I noted it was soft. Started work on the racing today. It's good to soft. So I haven't got a jar of glue what's going to be going on tomorrow. So we'll start with the 115 anyway. 9 runners.
Yep.
Only 3 of which have won on the going as currently described.
The
third favourite, Mub here, is already 0 from 4 on what they have at the moment, which is officially good to soft. But we'll see what we can do with this. It's 3-year-olds have won 5 of the last 10 runnings, including 3 of the last 5 and 2 of the last 3. So I'm going to say I'll go down that road. And I've got a pair in here, Lead Artist and Skeleton, which I mentioned earlier about poor old Doodah getting jocked off and Ryan Moore riding. I dutched that pair for a profit, because you will make a profit if one of them wins it. Unofficial ratings and weights. Sorry, go on.
I'll stop you there because Skeleton's an unrunner.
Oh, you're joking. That was
I'm not. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I'm not going to be wrong with my selection then, because I'm going for Lead Artist. He fitted on the fact that from a current tissue price angle, he was the most likely winner. Only one of the last 7 winners had taken this at a price bigger than 13-2. What price he's going to be now that Skeleton's out, I don't know.
5-2.
We've had 3 winning favourites, including the last 2. And Lead Artist will now be definitely going off favourite. So that's got to be my selection. What a shame Skeleton's out.
Yes, it is. Ron and I very rarely agree. I hate it when Ron and I agree on anything. It's just not the way it's supposed to be, Ron. I'm interested in Peace Man, or maybe it's Peace Man, I don't know, who's been off the track for 470 days after winning his last 3 back in the dim and distant past. He represents the Goslings and get them fit if they want to. He could be an interesting one stepping into group company. But I doubt he's good enough to see off lead artists. They've always thought an awful lot of him. In my honest opinion, despite his win and place record, he's never quite got to the standards they thought he was capable of. But he won the Bonhams at Goodwood in August over a mile. Beaten 2 lengths last time out by Kinross. Well, okay, that was a Group 2 at Doncaster, so he's dropping into a Group 3. Kinross is a confirmed Group 1 performer. Yeah. That was over 7 furlongs, which is Kinross's trip, and it was on Kinross's ground, so I don't think there's actually any disgrace in that, to be honest with you. He steps up 2 furlongs from that, but a furlong from his mile victory to 9 furlongs here. On breeding, that shouldn't really be a problem. In fact, I think he might improve for it. I have written, I'm hoping the ground dries out a little by race time. Good to soft would do, good would be even better. Yeah. Soft ground, if it switches to the word soft, I don't believe that would be in his favour. However, I think he's the class act here, and I can't really find anything to beat him, if I'm honest with you. So even 5 to 2, is it a good price? No, not really. I don't like going for favourites, but sometimes you look at it and go, well, I can't oppose him.
No.
So Ancient Rain, first time after a wind up. Interesting, but no, not for me. And he's third favourite, so I just can't see it really. Yeah. Lead artist and swiftly move on to the 150 at Newmarket.
Yeah, it's another 7 juveniles, all carrying 9 stone 4 pounds. And it's a race that Charlie Appleby has won for the last 3 years. So when you see a stat like that, you're thinking to yourself, bingo. And then you look at the race and you think, he hasn't got an entry this time. He had 2 entered up midweek, and I thought to myself, one of those is going to win this. Not now, it's not. Anyway, as I've been typing all of this up today, I noted that nothing is being supported. In fact, quite the opposite. That's because nothing has won on the ground, as is currently described. Mm-hmm. Nothing has won over the trip. And every single runner in the race is 0 from 0 at Newmarket. So how do you go about finding a winner of a race like this? Mm-hmm. The market's been a good guide in recent times. Only 2 of the last 8 winners going off bigger than 7 to 2. And the only qualifiers right now are Shackleton and Stars in Their Eyes. Both have been easy to back since the market first opened. Shackleton 2 to 1, ease to 9 to 4, and the Rafe Beckett trained Stars in Their Eyes 11 to 4, 3 to 1, and is now trading around about 100 to 30. But I can't look outside this pair for the winner, working as the way I work. So I'm going to pin my colours to the Mastiff Shackleton, trained by Aidan O'Brien. He won this race in 2017 and 2018. Beckett then won it in 2019. So we've got 2 trainers that know what is needed for this race. A Dutch then to make my profit. But for podcast purposes only, I'll go with Shackleton.
It's going to be a boring podcast, this one, isn't it? Shackleton cost 200,000 guineas as a yearling, a rare purchase when you think about it for the Bally Doyle gang. Is usually they breed their own. So that's a sign. Camelot is his sire, and he's got a 27% strike rate on good to soft and 26 on soft.
Yeah.
So there's every reason to think that he will handle the ground. Is that evidence? No, it's not, but it's all we've got to go on, isn't it, really? He's no world beater without a shadow of a doubt, but he ran on well over a mile and 1 last time out to win at the Curragh. That was only a maiden, so let's not get too excited by it. But he appears to be stamina through and through more than a class horse that's going to quicken up. That might be, if it does stay good to soft, that might be what you need. This is a mile and a quarter. There aren't very many mile and a quarter races for 2-year-olds, that's for sure, and that's for a reason. It's a bit too far for them. So again, I've written down he might be the best value in the race, even at 9 to 4. Yeah. Stamina thing's his strong suit. That's the sole thing that draws me to him here, not the actual form. But I can't see a reason to oppose him. Second favourite in a row. What do you do? These are the races they throw at us. Yeah. So we do what we can. As I said, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I said to Ron earlier as well, maybe I should have had a look at Chepstow, so I'll apologise. I'll apologise now. And we'll have a look at some jumps racing the next time if there's anything decent on. So Shackleton for me as well, and on to the 225 at Newmarket.
Yeah, 6-runner Group 3. And I note that a runner here that Appleby had entered for the previous race runs here instead. Mm-hmm. And whilst he had won the previous race 3 times in the last 3 years, he's won this one for the last 4 and 5 of the last 7.
Yep.
Again, we're dealing with 2-year-olds all carrying 9 stone 3, and again, just 2 trading at prices that I'd be even interested in from the market angle. The first is Aidan O'Brien's Delacroix, who arrives having been beaten in 2 of his 3 previous runs. Then we've got this Appleby runner, Silver Peak, and I've got to run with this horse for several reasons. First, Appleby's record in the race, phenomenal. Then you got the horse 1 from 1 on the ground, 1 from 1 at the trip, whilst Delacroix is already 0 from 2 at the trip, never raced on good to soft, and he's trading favourite. And we've only had 2 winning favourites in the last 10 years. He was also beaten last time out, and in the last 5 years, 4 winners have arrived for this race, having won last time out. I can only go with Silver Peak.
Might as well let you do the podcast on your own, really. Never mind. That's the way it goes.
I know what's coming next.
Yeah, we don't discuss this in advance, but then that's part of the fun of it, isn't it, really? Yeah, I wasn't overtaken with the form of Delacroix. So to be honest with you could make fools of us all. He was beaten at odds on last time out in the Group 2 Champion Juvenile Stakes at Leopardstown. As you say, Silver Peak, Charlie Appleby and William Buick both won it for the last 4 years in a row. Cost 1.25 million euros as a yearling, which is, it might be chicken feed compared to what we're reading for this week, but it's not chicken feed with my bank balance, I can tell you. He's not a cheapie. His son of Bowie, which of course is a Godolphin-owned stallion, looks like he's improving all the time, and at 3 to 1 he's the better value of the 2. That's really about all I can say about that. At the end of the day, it's hard to make a judgment call when pretty much 5 of the 6 have only run twice, and 4 of the 6 won last time out. Yeah, which makes it Nightwalker for Sir Michael Stout. Can't really see why that's as big as 10 to 1, but I have to assume the bookies know more than I do. Most people know more than I do. But yeah, Silver Peak for me at 3 to 1. Nothing particularly would surprise me, in all honesty. Wolford Badenoch, I know Hugo Palmer thinks a lot of that one. Yeah. But I could probably say that for all 6 of the runners here and come up with nothing. So decisions have to be made. I'd have written down Silver Peak again, mainly because of Appleby's record in the race. And as Ron said before we come on air, this is a meeting where he strikes.
Oh, he cleans up. Appleby in October, Newmarket, cleans exactly.
up. So hopefully he cleans up again tomorrow. Now we're going. We've got 2 more to go. I'm pretty certain. Well, 3 more to go. I'm pretty certain one of them will disagree on, if not 2. We'll have to wait and see. Sorry about this. 3 o'clock at Newmarket, which is. He clicks the button and sees where it comes up with on his racing post. Oh, of course, it's the Duet Group 1.
It's the Duet. Yeah, last year won by City of Troy.
The race.
We've got just 6 runners. 3 of which are trained by Aidan O'Brien, 2 by Charlie Appleby, which takes me back to what I was saying earlier about those sitting at the top table, not having a concern about the state of racing, because basically they're partly responsible for it. It's no surprise that 7 of the last 9 runnings of this race have gone to either Coolmore or Godolphin, and it will do again tomorrow. The Lion in Winter arrives unbeaten in 2 for O'Brien, as did City of Troy last season. Now, he's officially £3 the worst horse of the 2, the other one being Shadow of Light for Godolphin. Now, the reason for that is that he's already had 4 runs and City of Troy's only had 2, so he's totally unexposed by comparison. And he also, the Lion in Winter that is, he's arriving with a huge reputation. He's already 5 to 1 favourite for the 2,000 guineas. Shadow of Light is 16 to 1. Lion in Winter is already 5 to 1 favourite for the Derby. He's 6 to 1 for the boat race and 10 to 1 to get a hat-trick in an Anfield Derby match. Truth is, I've got no idea how good he is because we've only seen him twice. But he's odds on to win this, and he'll need to justify the odds for the guineas and the Derby, and to even get a shirt in the Derby match. He'll definitely have to win this tomorrow. I've got to go for the Lion in Winter. I've got no choice.
Well, it's another race that we're going to disagree on later then, because this one we're going to agree as well. We say this probably annually, to be fair. This is the latest Aidan O'Brien Wonder Beast, which are statements I've learnt to turn a deaf ear to be honest. They can't all be world beaters, or can they? Now,
they seem to be.
He's the latest off that particular production line. Rise unbeaten after wins at the Curragh and York. The latest he won the ACOM Stakes by a length and 3/4 from Wimbledon Hawkeye, who then easily won the Royal Lodge Stakes here at the end of September. So that form's been well and truly franked. If there is a question mark, he did miss an intended engagement in Ireland a couple of weeks back. I think it was maybe a week. I lose track of time at my age. I believe he trod on the stone, but I put it down as a minor injury in case I misunderstood that. I don't believe Aidan would send him in unless he thought he was fully recovered and ready to roll. No point in risking his unbeaten record for no reason. There's plenty of other races you could have gone to.
Yeah,
let's send him here. Those of us of a certain age see this as the main 2-year-old colts race of the season. To be honest, I still see the Dewhurst as the big test for the 2000.
It is, yeah.
That's not ignoring the others. It's just how I am, I suppose. It's an age thing, maybe. If he's as good as they say he is, he wins this. There's a little bit of evens available at the moment. Is that a good price or not? If he strolls home, as I suspect, then yeah, it is. And I don't think the others. I'm surprised Ancient Truth hasn't got William Buick on. I know he's rated lower, but he looks like he's got more room for improvement. Expanded Tom Marquand and Aidan O'Brien, 33-1 for an unbeaten horse. Go figure. That's all I can say on that one. But presumably Ryan's had the choice. And also Aidan's given the hype to this one, so Ryan would look very silly if he deserted him and something else won. Yeah. So Lion in Winter for me as well. We do now have a handicap to follow. I'm quietly confident.
But can I just issue a word of warning?
You can.
Have you seen the result of the 225 at Newmarket today?
No, I'm busy doing a podcast.
Aidan O'Brien had 2 in the race.
Yep.
Ecstatic, ridden by Ryan Moore, went off 7-1. And a horse called Merrily, ridden by Wayne Lord, and went off 25-1. Guess which one won?
Yes, I'm looking now so I can see
it. Yes, Merrily, 25-1. Ecstatic was 5th at 7-1. Merrily and Ecstatic, I think they're having a laugh. You see what I did there? Yeah,
I do.
So take nothing at face value, especially at this time of the year.
Yeah, it's no guarantee Ryan makes the right choice. What you can say is that Ryan almost certainly had the choice.
Yeah.
That you can be quietly confident about, but he doesn't mean he gets it right all the time, and horses make fools of us all and have done for years. But I'm surprised by that as well. We've seen the result. And on to the 340 at Newmarket, an obligatory handicap that Ron can get his teeth into. And let's see if we come up with the same horse yet again.
Well, you won't, because I've used a magic pin for this one, and I'll tell you why. It's a race totally dominated by national hunt trainers. You've had 8 in the last 10 have gone to trainers that you would assume would like to see hurdles or steeplechasers in front of them. The name Mullins is writ large on the scoreboard at the moment. 3 of the last 6 have gone to Willie Mullins, and last year Emmett took it with the shunter.
Yep.
Now that one tries again tomorrow, having been off the course since November last year. And this is something I've spotted about horses that are racing in this race tomorrow. They've been missing longer than Lucan. I'd not even look at this race were it not for the podcast. But what I'm saying is we want a 6 or 7-year-old based on the stats and the trends. Trained in Ireland, 5 of the last 6 renewals have actually gone to an Irish-based trainer. And they're trading 10-1 or shorter, but not favourite. Only 2 winning favourites in the last 10 years. Nothing fits, except for the fact that we've got a pair of Irish-trained horses sitting 2nd and 3rd favourite. You've got a Willie Mullins, William Buick-ridden favourite, age 6, that has not run on the flat for 793 days. Now, Mullins got this horse from a French trainer in 2022. God alone knows what he's been doing with the horse since. But then he ran it over hurdles on September the 25th this year, and the horse absolutely bolted in. It was making its debut over timber that day as well. Nothing in the race is being supported right now. In fact, that one has gone 7-2, 4-1, 9-2. Then you've got the Haley Turner ridden Emmett Mullins trained 2nd favourite called Jacobet Cavern, who is 5-1, 6-1, 13-2. Now this horse, or that horse, was off the track for 459 days before they ran it at Galway in July. It went off favourite and it got beaten 3/4 of a length. I couldn't have a bet on this race. It's just total guesswork. Which of these horses trained in Ireland are actually going to be going off to win this race tomorrow? You haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue. So what I did was I got my magic pin, I closed my eyes, and I stabbed the paper with it. And do you know what's come up? Dawn Rising. And seriously, I did that. Because that's the only way I'd pick a horse in this race. I wouldn't back it. I think it's around about 14 to 1. 2080, just for a laugh. Oh, Gordon Bennett, did I really just discuss this race?
Yeah, I'll give him a competitive handicap, and all he does is moan. He sticks a pin in it and gets probably got his own leg by mistake. But no, I've gone through the stats, and I won't say I'm comfortable with it because it's not that sort of race, is it?
No, it's not.
Right.
No.
The first thing I found is 14 runnings in the last 15 years. Those are the stats I dealt with. Now, no horse has won this that was drawn higher than 24. So that gets rid of one of them. All finished in the first 6 on their previous start. Odds tell us nothing, with odds winners from 4 to 1 at the low end up to 66 to 1.
Yeah.
12 winners were age 7 or younger. Haven't seen a successful 3-year-old since 2009. 14 of the 14 were rated 86 or higher, and 14 of the 14 were rated 101 or lower. That gets rid of a chunk.
Yeah.
14 of 14 had last raced within 120 days. None of them had raced in the last 7. Add those together in a 24-runner field, and believe it or not, I end up with 4 horses left. And that's it. Evaluation, Sea of Sands, 6.5, and Trooper Bisbee.
All right.
So my next stop is looking at their handicap marks. Now, Sea of Sands is a fly in the ointment on that one because he hasn't run with a handicap mark before. Not on the well, actually not at all. He did win last time. There's a maiden hurdle. At Listowel, I can't. I just can't see it. This is Willie Mullins. All things are possible. I accept that. He did win a Group 3 in Germany in 2021. For what that's worth. And his maiden hurdle, if he wins, he can win without my money at that price anyway. Evaluation raced off £5 higher than his last win at Wolverhampton in April. One to consider that his last win was on the all weather. And however hard I look, I keep coming back and I keep coming back and I keep coming back to Trooper Bisbee for our old mate Sir Mark Prescott.
Oh, Prescott, yeah.
Now, there's only 3 distance winners in the field. I mean, he won over 2.25 miles at Pontefract in June. He's the only one left on my shortlist with the guaranteed stamina. And that's open to question, for the others. He's 25 to 1 or thereabouts. I'm just going to try and scroll down in the hope he's a bigger price than that. He probably isn't, but we'll have a look and see. Yeah, 25 to 1. I'm quite happy to throw him up each way. Why not?
Why not? The odds are it'll go to a national hunt trainer from Ireland, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
The interesting thing
2 miles to a Pontefract, you can get it here.
Yeah, the only interesting thing about that is not that I think I found the winner or I think Ron hasn't found the winner or vice versa. It's that we both look at it from a profiling perspective, and Ron taught me that, by the way, but not in detail. The concept of profiling it, and I've used a different set of stats to you and come up with a totally different solution.
Yeah. So, you would do, yeah, because mine was all down to the magic pen.
Yeah, just makes it interesting. So Trooper Bisbee each way for me. We'll put more than a couple of buttons on it, mind. But never mind, that's the way it is. 1 to go.
The one thing you couldn't do with that race though is pick a horse based on its form lines.
No, not really. Not in a handicap over this sort of marathon distance. Even if you're looking at horses that have come down the weights or gone up the weights, they by definition been almost certainly running over shorter than this, and then returning back to this trip. So it's a totally different ball game for them.
Yeah.
450 at Newmarket. I'm intrigued by this one because I think this is the strangest race of the day. But never mind. Over to you to start.
Yeah, well, we've actually spoken about the success story behind Alpha Kalenic before.
Yeah.
But I imagine both Tom Eaves and William Pyle are gutted they're not riding that horse tomorrow. They've both been jocked off by guess who? Ryan Moore.
My mate Ryan. Yeah.
Now. And Pyle has been on board for 5 of this horse's 7 wins. And Eaves was on board for 2. Top table stuff again, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the best jockey you can. Sorry to the other guys. I don't mean that as an insult to them at all. But, if anyone thinks Ryan Moore's not the best jockey in the world.
No, he is. By a million. I mean, you couldn't compare William Pyle to Ryan Moore. But the fact is, the guy's ridden the horse to 5 wins. I'd hate to have been the bloke that went up to William Pyle or Tom Eaves and said, sorry, guys, you're not riding this weekend. We've got Ryan Moore. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, 3-year-olds have won 9 of the last 10 of these. And whilst Alpha Kalenic fits on that score, we've had just a pair of winning favourites, and they both went off joint favourite. This is a really competitive race, this, you know.
Yeah.
Would you be wanting to take 2-1 about Alpha Kalenic? I wouldn't. Not a chance. Never in a million years would I bet on a race like this. But hey, it's the podcast. I've got to go somewhere. And I'm going to select the other 3-year-old, because 3-year-olds are where it's at, that is trading shorter than 20-1. And that is a horse called Got to Love a Grey. We've had 4 of the last 10 winners returning 20-1 or shorter. 3 in 2019, 20 and 21, returning odds of 11-1, 18-1 and 12-1, with the last pair of those being 3-year-olds. Carl Burke trains Got to Love a Grey, and what a season he has had this year. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. He's around about 12-1 at the moment. And I'm just going to say I'll have a speculative 20-80 that they can get this horse in the frame. I think I'd rather take 12-1 and speculate than take 2-1 about a favourite in a race like that.
Yeah, it's my most hated race of the ones we looked at, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
First thing I put is a booking of Ryan Moore to ride Craig Lister's Alpha Kalenic seems to have swayed the market fairly dramatically. As a 3-year-old is trading as short as 2-1, which seems over the top for all stepping out of handicap company and into listed class for the first time. That said, I still think she's probably the likeliest winner. Won her last 6. What have I put his in my writing? Won her last 6 starts and racing up the handicap. Started off with a mark of 70 in June and now up to a mark of 101 now, which has pretty much ruled her out of most handicaps, to be honest with you. Rage of Bambi would have been my each way suggestion had he been slightly bigger than his current price of 9-2. Alpha Kalenic's in such good form, difficult to oppose, and won with a bit of hand last time, but no good thing for a 2-1 shot, that's for sure. Alpha Kalenic to win for me, if you want to leave the race alone, wouldn't blame you at all.
No, I wouldn't blame you.
No. Would you fall over in shock if she got beaten? I'd be delighted for her to win. It'd be nice for her to do so. When you're saying about jockeys, I was wondering, and I can't see it in the race conditions because the Racing Post doesn't give it in full depth as far as I know. I wonder if apprentices can't claim. Yeah,
possibly.
That might explain William Pyle not riding, because he claimed 3 on her last time and he can't.
He did.
Maybe, and I'm open to correction, he wouldn't be allowed to claim in this race. I don't know is the truth. I'm just scratching around thinking of reasons why he might not ride, because I would have thought you'd want to put him on pause to take the £3 back off again.
Yeah, but, there's no other jockey in the race riding with a claim anyway.
No, I had to look at that. But then there's no other claimers either, so I don't know whether it's just a case that they haven't got a ride or that they're not allowed to. But yeah, not my favourite race. I think we move swiftly on and press your button, don't you?
I think I'll press my button. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never seen so many big price DOMs going in. Well, not big price when they finish, but what they started at. The first one I'm going to put up was one that was yesterday. If you want a perfect example of a trainer training a horse for a race, Darbucks yesterday up at Ayr. 18-1 into 6-1 in the newsletter. He was actually bigger. This horse burst into flames mid-morning. Went and won at 5-1.
Wow. All right for some.
The next one, Secret Road, opened up 20-1, smashed in to 9-2, only went and won at 7-4 favourites.
Blimey, madness.
And this one's a tiddler by comparison. A horse called Marsh Benham a few days ago. 12-1 into 4-1 in the newsletter. Pinged in at 7-2.
Very nice.
And the significance of all 3 was that they were backed from the moment the market opened until they went past the winning post. And all 3 had the flame attached to them, and they were glowing purple in the newsletter. They I would suggest the markets are much more the way to go than ever trying to find a horse based on form lines during the month of October. You've got dodgy ground. You've got horses that have been in training now since February, some of them, and they're basically cream crackered and waiting for a bit of grass in a field somewhere.
Does seem that way, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I wouldn't mind a bit of grass in a field myself. Something for the weekend, sir. What's your pick this week?
I'm going for Silver Peak. That's got to be the selection based on the fact that Appleby had it in the race before, and he's thought, you know what, I'm going to go for this race after, because he basically farms it. Yeah, Silver Peak for me. Newmarket 225.
Yeah, mine's even duller than that. Mine's dull as ditch water this week, I'm afraid. The Lion in Winter in the 3 o'clock.
Hey, yeah.
If he's as good as they think he is, a winner's a winner. I'll take that. I'll shop around for some decent racing on the jumps for next week if there is any. I haven't looked at the cards that far in advance just yet. And we'll see if we can find some hurdles or chases we can mess about with, eh?
Yeah, lovely. Yeah.
That'd be nice. I sort of suddenly looking at Chepstow. Somebody said in the Racing Post today, and I know you I think it's the Badger chases when you count.
Yeah, 9th of November, Saturday, the Badger Ale chase at Wincanton. That's when the betting boots go back on. Yeah,
I think someone with might have been Chris Cook was saying in the Racing Post today that a lot of people, including him, see this Chepstow meeting as the start. So that's sort of woken my ideas up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll start looking at some jump racing next week if there's anything worth looking at.
If there isn't, anything worth looking at, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not particularly going to go to a Fosslas maiden selling hurdle for amateur riders if that's just to annoy you.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see if we can find some decent racing and we'll work on that.
Yeah, the thing about the jump season at the moment is you've got the likes of Paul Nicholls. I think he's only had 3 runners in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they've all been this week. And you can see them slowly coming to the boil. You've got trainers like Rebecca Curtis and Joe Tizard. They both started pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's Keelan Woods, like I was talking to you in messages about yesterday.
Yeah,
You get the smaller trainers are really getting theirs motoring early, because once the big guns start firing, they are basically out with the washing. So they're doing a bit of pot hunting now. So watch out for these smaller trainers and watch the OMS in the newsletter. Seriously, that is where the winners will be.
I think you're right, but I think the big guns might start going a little bit earlier this year, and that's only because I'm looking at Chepstow now. It's soft, good.
Oh yeah, well,
and that's National Hunt soft. Yeah.
I actually started working on National Hunt races for ratings.
Yeah.
In the middle of September, because it's like I said in the newsletters back then, trainers are behind as they usually would be because they've had soft ground all summer. So these horses will be race fit. It's just that the bigger guns don't want to fire their main bullets too early, because it's a 5-month season still, whether they're fit or not,
Well, they'll have their race plans a la Constitution Hill. Start with the Fighting Fifth at Newcastle, then perhaps the hurdle at Kempton, maybe. I don't know what they're going to do there. But they'll have planned that out probably over a year ago, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Races he'll go to, fitness and health allowing. And that would be the same with most of them. But I think there is that ability now, whereas in the past they might have looked at it and gone, yeah, we can't go this early in the season because the ground, I don't want them jarred up on this ground and out for the season. And now they're looking at it going, do you know what, we can run on this easy. There's nothing wrong with the ground. So be interesting to see who takes off and who doesn't first.
Sure.
Other than that, I believe we could wrap that one up before they get to
it's a wrap. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's nearly a good hour.
Is it? Well, we think it's a good hour. Whether anyone listening thinks it's a good hour.
it's a matter of opinion, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll look at my calendar. I can do next week if you want to. I don't know what Ron's up to. He's a busy man.
I'll be there. Yeah.
With the 500 Club. You expect us to keep going 500 Club every time you listen in. Because, it's the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know what was the best thing before sliced bread. Someone will have to tell me about that. Unsliced bread, I suppose. But it's going to be a good thing, and we're going to keep reminding you about it and ask you to tell your friends. And feel free to write into Ron and ask him any questions, etc., etc. And let's get this damn thing off the ground, and we can all
do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Do it. Right. On that note, back some winners, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And we shall return same time next week, same channel, and all that jazz, as they used to say.
And all that stuff. Yeah.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy yourselves. Bye bye. Now.
Have a good one.
And you. Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
Post Racing, the site for winners.